Hi everyone and welcome to a new week. For those who don't know me, I'm Emma and I'm the artist behind Unsteady art. So this is a bit of a continuation video. So when I last stopped, I'd just done the spine for the hardback book I'm trying to make. So this is the first time in ages and the first time I'm doing it on my own without general outside help walking around of a hardback book. So if you can see, I've got all the pages. I did the backing, which is great for that sheet, so the first sheet that you flip over, which will get glued to the book side of things, to the hardback. The only thing I didn't particularly like is this bit. So this is a bit that we glued on after, so this is a card. So I think next time, I'm going to stitch it while I'm stitching the actual book, rather than actually having it as an external, because I like the way that these bend, but that doesn't quite bend, and I don't think it would. So I think for this time round, after I've done the book, I might just sort of stick it in place a bit. But other than that, it's turned out really well so far. The actual ribbons that I put on last time worked really well. And yeah, the mull to put on for the grey board. So this time round is to measure up the grey board, to cut the grey board out, and I'm going to try and put it in place. And the reason why I'm trying to put it in place is I need to know the area in which I've got to embroider. So I am wanting the main piece obviously front and centre. I'm also wanting something on the back. I don't know if I'm going to put my logo or my website, just something to remind people. I think the word might be. I'm going to do it subtle, but it'll be there. But yeah, the only thing I can do is crack on with it and see how we go from there. So let's get on with it. So I've brought across 3 of the grey boards from my group, just for the fact that I'm going to need it bigger than A5, because we know that this is A4 already and I haven't cut them down, so I haven't got that sort of part. So what I'm going to do, or I should say what is said to be done, so measure across, which is 15 centimetres by, I'd say about 21.2, and the only reason is there is some that's bulkier than the other parts. So let's measure this out. So what she suggested, which I'll see if I can remember to name it this time around. So what was recommended online was to do the book and one of the grey boards, not to do both. So let me sandwich them in. So we are looking at 2.5. That's better, if you can see that. Right, let's get on to the next bit. So I've been borrowing a bit of, well, a lot of the tutorial from Bitter Melon Designs books. Sorry, I do apologise, I'm shocking at these. So she did recommend a 6mm gap, but I haven't got that. So I'm going to use these instead, which are roughly that. So I'm just leveling everything up. And then masking tape around it. So I've cut the fabric a little bit oversized, it's just so I've got a little bit more wiggle room once it's all been stitched out. So let's get this hooped on. I'm wanting to get it as centre as possible, but I'm not particularly bothered if it's straight. Because you only need a little bit of a lip, and this is definitely bigger than the that definitely needs tightening up. Let's try that again. Better. So all I'm going to do now is bring back over this. So idea is, let's get this right, so this way on. So trying to think of which way it's going to be just to make sure. But if I'm feeling it's going to be that way. That way on. Yeah, because it's going to flip round, so I need it that way. So I'm going to put that to the furthest edge just to get that where it's straight. And what I'm going to do is put a piece of masking tape down where the spine is. Because I also want to put down roughly where that is. There we go. So when I mark it off, I can actually do the bit on that side that I'm wanting my branding on. So with that done, I'm going to set my digitizer off so it's got that pretty much in the centre on that side of the field, and then the little bit as far across as I can get it. So yeah, let's go. the embroidery is finally done. Hopefully you can see it from here. So I've managed to get that in the corner to resize it down a little bit than what I first expected, and it is just so it didn't go onto the edge of the hoop. So there's been a little bit of tugging from the big stitch out, which that's normal. I think when I'm doing satin stitch around it, it actually takes a lot of it away. But I'm kind of hoping when I'm gluing it in place that some of that will remove. If not, I'll try a different way of doing it. So let's see how this went. So I did end up putting a little bit more masking tape on the bottom so I could level off the, so I knew roughly where that'd be for my logo, because I did that on a separate piece. So hopefully if I line this up as best as I can, I'm gonna just put a little bit of masking tape on sides just so I can roughly piece out where everything's gonna go, or as much as possible. Obviously I will be treating it before I even think of cutting anything down, but it's just to give an idea of where it's gonna be. So no doubt I'll probably take a picture, but it gives me an idea. Yeah, that's not actually that bad. It's roughly centre. It's definitely centre on that one, but that doesn't surprise me at all. So things I'm needing to do next time. So cutting the stabiliser off, which I'm kind of hoping will reduce or at least minimise some of the puckering. Obviously de-thread the little bits that's kind of fraying up. Putting the iron on and the plain paper. And then finally actually getting it on my book. So I'm kind of hoping this week, at the worst next week, it'll be done. Yay. Oh, such a long awaited victory. I'm hoping it's going to be a victory anyway. So yeah, let's check in on my next day off. Bye. So today I'm on a bit of a different setup. So I've got all the stuff here that I need, and the reason why I've changed the angle is because I've got the heat presses and things like that that needs to be used for this. I don't know how it's going to go, just for the fact that the material is puckering slightly, so it's kind of affecting where the weave is. But I'm going to hope to try and solve that later. So what I've got here is obviously my material that I usually use, the iron-on backing that I did with the little testers, Teflon sheets because it's just a bit easier at the moment, normal plain paper which is A3, my card that I cut out last time, and I've got a bit of butcher paper because I've got a funny feeling that it'll end up sticking to the edges because it is a little bit big. So yeah, let's get on with it. So if you've noticed, I've put little bits of masking tape down. This is just to give me an idea of where the lining is for not just the books but also my pieces, because if they don't look straight it's going to make everything look a bit funny. So really shiny side down, which is that one. Out a bit. trying to get it where it's in between. I'm going to use the Teflon sheet because it's a little bit weightier as well. There we go. So I'm going to heat up my heat press to 170 for 5 seconds. Right, so it's now to temperature, so I'm going to put it in the middle and then kind of keep going outwards. Even though it's on for 5 seconds, I'm going to try and keep it heated up because I'm going to have to play it at least twice, if not 3 times. But I'm just trying not to overly do it. So, let's play. So I'm going to keep that generally going for temperature. I'm going to just turn that over a second. Right, so there is a bit of puckering there. But it's not as bad as what I thought it might be. Right, so as you can see, the bits around the side are also moving. So I'm just going to go around the all sides again. Let's do this again. Hopefully now they're a bit better. Yeah, a lot better. And to be honest, it's evened out a bit as well. And it's definitely stuck. Right, so I'm going to turn it back round again and make sure none of these are poking up, because what I'm going to do now, I've decided to put 2 A4 sheets, not 1. Main reason for that one, I want to make sure that it's all done because it's going to cut down to size anyway after. So got that. So there should be a plastic sheet. Oh, that needs to be pushed up to 80 degrees and then it's for 20 seconds this time around. Oh, wrong way. Oh. There we go. Don't know why that was so hard. I'm kind of hoping the other bits that aren't quite stuck down properly will do it with the paper. So I'm going to put the paper down where the mid ground is. I've then got a line to go by. but it's going to be cut down anyway. So let me get this on. There we go. Now let's do it for a bit longer. And on to the other side. And there we go. So hopefully, I've ended up with another piece of paper. Oh well. So let's turn it over. See how it's stuck, which seems to be perfectly fine, being honest. There we go. So, now let it cool down for a few minutes, for a few seconds. No, probably might be better minutes. And then I'm going to try and get that done. Very line down there. I don't think it's particularly straight either, which is a shame. Might not be too bad actually. I might have worked his way. So yeah, let me get this dry and then we'll start to put the boards on and then we'll cut it down to size. So I don't know if you can see this, but I've kind of marked where I need my centre to be. The line is luckily straight, it's just a little bit out from the centre of the actual design, but that don't bother me. So when I've done that, I can then and then I can work my way out. So at least I've got a starting point and it's going to be roughly where I need it to be. No guarantees, but hey, we'll try it. That's going to be as much as I can. So I'm actually going to sort of put a bit of pressure on that. So yeah, I'll be back when it dries. So it's out from dryer. Out from drying. One thing I did forget to do was turn it over to use the bone bit to kind of smush it all down. But I have to admit, it's made a really nice pattern in there, which kind of offsets the what's the word? Offsets the puckering that we're on. So that's done quite well. So the only thing that I need to do now is cut it into the sections that I need and then to go over. I have done this bit, which is just to sort of go down where the space is. But I have to admit, I did it a little bit too hard at one point and it cracked the paper underneath. But not the biggest issue because that bit isn't going to get any more attention. So not too bad. So let's cut it down and glue it to the back. So now this is all done. This is how it's looking. And when it's in the block, which this is the part where we'll be gluing it together, and that's how it's looking. So I have to admit that's turning out really well for a first going party one. First time embroidering it too. So let's get gluing. So it's been a day later. Let's see how it turned out. So I did end up covering it, and the reason being is I didn't want it marking. So yeah, so there's the front cover, the back cover. I don't know if you can see some of them. So some of the puckering has come out, but because it's got this sort of unevenness to it, it kind of looks like it's in water. It's quite nice actually. So let's see how the first one. So these are the ones that I kind of thought that might have gone wrong, because every time I was trying to do it, it ended up peeking up there, but it has actually done it very, very well. This is the first page which I said that I probably would end up either gluing together or just leaving it and not do anything. I think next time I will stitch it in. Go to the back of the book. There we go. So halfway down. So if I show you that, that is where the curve of the spine is. And it's come out very, very well. So yeah, very much successful. Yay! So I completely forgot to record the outro. So if this is where I'm going to end it this week. If you liked it, please like, subscribe, comment. Love to hear what you think. See you next week. Enjoy!